Hello, Dave here with RadiationHealthRisks.com. I appreciate you stopping by. As always, if you get any benefit out of this video, please don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell so that you'll be notified when we do future videos. We always really appreciate it when people do that because it really helps with Google's algorithm, especially smashing the like button. Helps our videos get seen, helps us get the word out. Today's video is actually the third video in a series of videos that I've been working on with a fellow YouTuber who lives near me, LDS Prepper, David from LDS Prepper, and his website is ldsprepper.com. I'm kind of preparedness minded, and so I've been out to his place, and he lives on a couple acres. He has thermal heated greenhouses, and he produces all his own electricity with solar panels. And anyway, I was out there several months ago, and I was telling him about how solar panels cause a lot of dirty electricity in a home. And we were also talking about Wi-Fi radiation. And anyway, a few weeks later, he called me. He'd been researching it on his own. He was particularly concerned about his wife's office because he had the Wi-Fi router and a bunch of Wi-Fi devices right in her office where she works. And so he asked me if I would bring my meters out and test all that for him. And so I did, and he and I went through his house and we tested it for both dirty electricity and Wi-Fi radiation. And those are really interesting videos. If you haven't seen those, I'll put a link to those right there so that you can go back and watch those. And then in today's video, after David had had a chance to take some of the recommendations that I did for his wife's office and put some protections in there. Anyway, he called me a couple weeks ago and said, I'm ready for you to come back out. And so today's video is I'm going to go back out there and with my meter and test so you can see the difference with some of the protections that David's put around his Wi-Fi router and around the different devices. So this will give you the after, and the other videos give you the before. So one other thing that I want to mention that I think will be of particular interest to some of the people that comment sometimes on my videos when they're trying to get protections for themselves and their family, and they're concerned about the cost of like a Wi-Fi router guard. It's not that expensive. I think if I remember right, 60 or 70 bucks, something like that. But those things can add up. And anyway, David from LDS Prepper, he's the kind of guy that likes to make stuff himself. And so I was telling him how you can, as long as you have metal mesh, as long as it's made out of a highly conductive metal like aluminum, and I was suggesting to him aluminum window screening that you can get at like Home Depot or Lowe's, that you can make your own. Well, anyway, David took that and he took the aluminum screen. He went and got some, and he actually made his own Wi-Fi router guard out of aluminum window screen. And so I think that'll be really interesting for people to see. If it's expensive and if you're handy, you can literally make these things yourself. It didn't hurt, window screen is really cheap. Okay, so let's get to it and let's see the protections that Dave made and how that reduced the RF radiation. Okay, here we are back in David's wife's office, and we've got everything turned off here right now except for his Wi-Fi. But as you can see, he's got a aluminum screen box that he made from aluminum screen you can get at the normal hardware store. And from where she'll be about where her head will be, you can see that it's bouncing around between 9 and almost 40, 45 there. So if you remember before, it maxed out the meter several times, which means this meter reads up to 2,000 microwatts per meter squared. And so it was above that. So I'll walk over here and I'll show you the box that David built for it. If you can see that, it's he designed it out of aluminum screen, and you can see it's important that they have a base on it. You can see he has a aluminum screen bottom to the box as well as a top, I believe.
when Dave was here last time and tested everything in here, Sue was just off the charts for all the EMF she was getting. Some of that was coming from this phone, actually quite a bit of it. And so when I created the Faraday cage for the router, I had leftover screen from the roller screen I bought at the big box store. And she's about 8 to 10 inches shorter than I am. So I just took a piece of scrap screen. David recommended putting it on aluminum base, and that has helped. And so this is actually over her head, and so that almost completely eliminates any EMF coming to her. It's down into single digits when before it was in the hundreds. I have it set here so you can actually see that the Wi-Fi is turned on. You want the Wi-Fi turned on?
Yeah. Well, the more signal, whatever she would have before.
Yeah, that's normal right there.
Okay. All right. So here we are. David is sitting here, and he just put his cell phone in the stand there. And when he first turned his cell phone on before he put it in there, it spiked the meter standing right here. Now that it's in there, and you can see that the Wi-Fi is on, it just spiked up to 300. Let's see, let's put it back. So it spiked up to 300, and then, but most of the time it's spending in the single digits. There it got up to 52. So if you compare that to over 2,000, that's a very massive reduction. Oh, it just got up to 250 there. So, and the reason why the amounts vary is because cell phones are changing all the time, depending on whether they're trying to check with the cell tower, or the highest peak they're at is when they're in a phone call.
So what we found is that my wife was basically in the Bermuda Triangle of EMF, sitting right here, because of course you want things to be reachable to you. So she had her laptop putting off Wi-Fi, her phone putting off Wi-Fi, her headset was putting off Wi-Fi because it's Bluetooth, and she had a Bluetooth mouse. And we had the printer that's Wi-Fi. So what we did on Dave's recommendation is for her birthday, she got a brand new nice headset that is wired. So that took care of that Wi-Fi problem, the Bluetooth. She bought a new mouse that is wired. So that eliminates that EMF. And then, as you can see, the printer's still there, but we only turn it on when we need a print. We do the print job, and then we turn it back off. So we've eliminated over 90% of the EMF radiation that she was getting by sitting right here.
Okay, wow. The changes that Dave made really reduced the amount of RF radiation that his wife is being exposed to by a lot. I thought that was great. And I loved how he made all those items. Anyway, I know I'm going to get some comments from people. Well, how do I get it down to 0? And so, for using Dave's wife's office as an example, in that office, there are basically 3 things that he would need to do to get it down to where she wasn't being exposed to any RF radiation. And the first is, and probably the most important, is that Wi-Fi router. Even in a metallic mesh box like David made, or like a Wi-Fi router guard, you're still getting some of the RF radiation coming through. You dissipate the rest with distance. And David had it as far away, up in the top corner. He had it as far away from her desk as he could get it. And so the only way would be to move it into a different room. I have a Wi-Fi router in my office also. It's not quite as powerful as David's. That's why his was so big it wouldn't even fit into any of the Wi-Fi router guards that I had. But in my office situation, I have it farther away. Just the way the room's situated, I'm able to get it farther away, the Wi-Fi router, than David's is. And with it being less powerful, with my meter, and I measure it, I'm not getting any RF radiation from it being in the same room as me. But you need to get it in a Wi-Fi router guard and far enough away from you so that you're not picking it up where you're working with the meter. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be the cell phone. Some of you have seen this little bucket in some of my other videos. What I do with this is I stick my cell phone in that bucket like that. It basically serves the same purpose as David's aluminum screen tube that he made. And yes, because it has an open top, it has a metallic metal bottom, but I do get some RF radiation coming out of the top. But what I found is as long as this thing is sitting above my head, when I'm measuring with a meter, I'm not getting enough coming around that the meter can pick it up. As long as the meter's not picking it up, I feel pretty good about it. And so what I do in my office is I have my cell phone in a little bucket like that, and then I just have the bucket sitting where it's above my head on a shelf, and it's about 4 feet away. And so from where I'm sitting, it's literally reaching like about that. It's not very far, and I can grab it, but it's 4 feet away from where I'm sitting and working. Same thing at night. I actually have this about 5 or 6 feet away from me at night, and it's up above my body. And that way, again, from where I'm sleeping with the meter, I don't pick up any RF radiation because it's far enough away. So that's what I would do is for Dave is I would move that farther away from his wife. With as tall as he's got that, he'd probably only have to move it another couple of feet away, and he probably wouldn't be able to pick it up at all with a meter. Okay, so the third thing is the laptop. The laptop, when you're using Wi-Fi, is like it's like a mini Wi-Fi router that's right next to you. And remember, Wi-Fi radiation is more dangerous, even if it's less powerful, if it's closer and closer proximity to your body. And so with the laptop, the most dangerous part about the laptop is the base of the laptop. Especially, you never want to set your laptop directly on your lap. Matter of fact, a lot of laptop companies have quit calling it a laptop for that very reason. I have this thing here, which inside this case, this is a Wi-Fi protection case. It's actually a case that I can stick my laptop in, but it works great because it's got the metallic mesh within the case. And so I set my laptop on that, and it's big enough that it blocks the radiation. When I measure with a meter, very little of it comes around. And so if I have to be sitting somewhere where I'm using my laptop on Wi-Fi and I'm sitting it on my lap, I always have this on it. Matter of fact, even at my desk, I still always have this under my laptop. So that's what I would do. And then again, like I said, the most important thing is whenever possible, have your Wi-Fi turned off in your laptop and have the laptop hardwired so you have internet that way, so you're not having Wi-Fi. Now, the other thing is, remember, with a laptop, you got electric fields and magnetic fields. They don't travel near as far. They're not as powerful as RF radiation, but any electronic device still emits EMF radiation. They emit electric fields and magnetic fields. So even if you had your laptop plugged into the wall, hardwired in, and you had the Wi-Fi turned off, if it's sitting on your lap, you still want to have it on one of these things. Okay, if there was a fourth item of concern, what I would mention is her headphones. She got a corded set of headphones, which is so much better than Bluetooth. With Bluetooth, you have the sources of the radiation right next to your head, blasting into your brain. And so having a corded headphones is so much better. But even then, RF radiation will travel up the cord from the device like it was an antenna and you'll still get some of it into your head. That's why with electronic devices, they have Ferrite beads, like a lot of laptop cords and different electronic device cords have Ferrite beads built into them. I'm going to show a little quick clip of another video that I did where I show a commercial Ferrite bead so you can see what I'm talking about. So what is a Ferrite bead? This is the top half of the power cord to my one of my computer monitors. And you can see towards the top, there's this little cylinder here. A lot of power cords for like laptops and monitors and different things have that. And basically what that does, it's a ferrite bead. What it does is a ferrite bead allows the current that's supposed to go through these cords to go through it. But it blocks the higher frequencies that aren't supposed to go through the cord. So, matter of fact, the higher the frequency is, the better they work. They become basically a resistor. And so they filter off and block the high frequencies. Why is that important on a cord like this? Because anytime you have anything that's manipulating the current, changing it from AC to DC or whatever, it causes high spikes and surges, high frequency spikes and surges to get put on that line. And if you don't have a ferrite bead on there to resist that and to filter it off, it can go up into whatever the electronic device is, and go up and damage the circuit board. So that's why they put these on here. Interesting thing about ferrite beads, 2 work better than 1, 3 work better than 2. And what really makes them work really good too is if you wind the cord a second time through them. So if you can see here, I ran the cord through, then I wrapped it around and ran it through again. So if you're going to put 2 of them on there, you want to wrap it around again. So you want to have a ferrite bead on the bottom of any corded headphones that you put, and that will block the RF radiation from coming up to your head. Okay guys, well, I hope this was informative to you. I hope it was interesting. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. We'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks so much.